it is my pleasure to introduce the Mayor of the City of Pomona, the Honorable Mayor Tim Sandoval.
Good evening. Good evening, Pomona. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'd like to take a moment to thank Andrea for serving as MC. She did a fabulous job. And Apostle Alexander for the invocation. And how about our youth from Pomona Unified School District? We are privileged to have so much young talent in our community. And of course, thank you to the Gary High School Color Guard and Jazz Band and the Diamond Ranch High School Choir. Give them a nice big hand. Thank you to the Fox Theater for hosting us. And congratulations to the residents who received the very first Pomona Beautiful Award for your contributions to our city. We appreciate you. Wow. Welcome to my very first State of the City address. What a special year 2017 was for me to serve as your mayor. By far, as I look back on my life, I have to say that this has been the least stressful year of my life. People actually tell me I look younger. My wife says I've grown more patient, particularly after city council meetings. And I think everybody should become an elected official. And what a joy it is to hear all the praise for our city council on Facebook and next door. They especially praise how short our meetings are. And it's great when everything is working and there are no conflicts, and you have to love government. You allocate money to repave a street, and in 2 hours, well, it's done. But seriously, it's an honor and privilege to serve you as your mayor, because I get to work with amazing people that are working towards solutions every day. And let me introduce them. And they've been introduced already, but I just want to thank my colleagues, because I know that there's a lot of work involved in being a representative of this community, and I know it isn't always easy. And I thank you. So District Council Member Rubio Gonzalez. District 2 Council Member Adriano Robledo. District 3 Council Member Cristina Carizosa. District 4 Council Member Elizabeth Onaveros Cole. District 5 Council Member Gina Escobar. And District 6 Council Member Robert Torres. I also want to acknowledge, and I know it is a long flight from Ontario, LA to get to DC. Thank you, Congresswoman Norma Torres, for being here. Give her a nice big hand. And our state senator, thank you for being here as well. I know the trip is a little shorter from Sacramento, but we appreciate you being here. Senator Connie Leyva. And I don't know if he's here, but I also want to acknowledge Assemblyman Freddie Rodriguez. And she may not be here, but I also want to acknowledge County Supervisor Hilda Solis. And I want to acknowledge the residents of the city of Pomona. And though she is not an elected official, she is the mayor of our household, my wife and best friend, Chrissy. Thank you for being there for me and with me on this incredible journey. Thank you, Annie. Let me take you back to the beginning of last year. Shortly after I was elected mayor, I received a call from parent leader Claudia Bedoya. And she asked me, yeah, she deserves a nice big hand, right? And she asked me if I could attend a parent meeting at Gary High School organized to address the growing fear amongst our immigrant community about the impact of the national elections. I agreed, and when asked to speak, I reiterated, and I'm going to reiterate this a couple of times here. I reiterated to the parents that the city of Pomona was and is committed to ensuring the protection of all our residents, no matter where they come from. And I am proud to say that in December, in collaboration with community organizations like Gente Organizada and the Latino Roundtable, the City Council passed an ordinance in support of the California Values Act, which affirmed our support for our diverse community. But at the same meeting, the questions kept coming. And the next one was, Mr. Mayor, what are you going to do about the trash in my alleyway? The honeymoon was over. I paused, and I was trying to think about what I was going to say. And I said, I'll tell you what, organize your family and a couple of your neighbors, and I'll meet you halfway. And Lily Flores said yes. After we communicated by phone and set a date, I showed up on a Saturday morning. Her husband and kids were there, as well as a neighbor, and we together cleaned it up. There were bulky items that we couldn't manage. So Jerry Perez, stand up, brother. From Public Works, sent a team to pick up the bulky items. In effect, what that group did was take ownership of their alley. My vision for Pomona is for every resident and business to take ownership of this community, to own it. Every street, every corner, every sidewalk, every alleyway, every off-ramp, every park, and the life of every neighborhood. Let's take ownership of this community. Our residents and businesses will prosper if we make this commitment. Let me be clear. There have been people for many, many years who have been contributing to transform this community and taking ownership in this exact way. And you know who you are. And I know who some of you are. And I thank you all. And I need you. Our city council needs you to help grow it. Again, that is my vision for Pomona, and I am confident that we are well on our way to realizing that vision. I have to say that I led a somewhat simple life prior to becoming mayor. Coffee in the morning, yard and housework on the weekends, and dinner with my wife. But now, the emails come, the calls come. Sound familiar, council? The social media posts come, and the message more often than not is, Mr. Mayor, how are you going to solve my problem? To the elected officials who are here tonight, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've worked to address the problems that could be easily addressed by working with our city staff. Some solutions took longer, and I have to say, it will take time to fix the problem. In the beginning, my instinct was to want to solve everyone's problems. Isn't that what a mayor is supposed to do? And then as I was leaving a memorial service for a child that was tragically killed in our city, Jonah, a neighbor of mine, Paul Cack, walked up to me and handed me a book. He said, I think this may help you. In such a somber moment, that thoughtful gesture took me by surprise. The book was called The Good City and the Good Life, and I read it, and it was a gift. The book crystallized something I was already trying to figure out, which is that government is important. And we in government must work to provide consistent and excellent service in the areas we are responsible for. But that government can't solve everything, nor should it. The tendency is for residents and businesses to see their relationship to the city as a transactional relationship, which is you pay the city for city services, and the city is expected to do everything. In fact, what I want to see is what is needed is a transformational relationship where government is working with its residents and businesses to create an environment where all community members prosper. In other words, we're not just taxpayers, but citizens with the responsibility to help make the city whole. One great example of this is the Second Saturday Art Walk, where people from throughout the city and the region have the opportunity to connect. Another one is the Pomona Premier Youth Soccer League that draws kids from Pomona and all over the region. They're here. Give them a nice big hand. And connects families at a community park or school. When confronted with the problem, if we are thinking in a transformational way as opposed to a transactional way, we don't ask, what is some entity, the government, going to do for us? Rather, the focus becomes, what are we going to do together? And in the context of our city, the question becomes, how are we going to take ownership of Pomona? As we take ownership of Pomona and see a change in mindset, we will see Pomona prosper. When I was 17, my parents and I took a tour of Claremont McKenna College next door. And the tour guide made a statement that I would never forget. He said, Pomona is not a place you want to go to. Now, he wasn't referring to Pomona College. That was the mindset then, and we still hear people say it. It's just Pomona. That's just the way things are. I knew that singular negative image wasn't our city, but I heard it. Others heard it. I still hear it. And yes, there are challenges, but my experiences tell me that this is not the full narrative. This is not what I've witnessed. I refuse to buy into that mindset. That is not the city I know. I need you to help me grow that mindset. You're here because, like me, you love this city. But it takes doing. The one small thing that each of us are able to do. You are all here. That means that you're all taking ownership of Pomona in some way. So let's spread this mindset to our neighbors and throughout the city. Let's tell the whole story about Pomona, not just the singular negative story that we often hear, because great things are happening here. Now let's take a look at the past year to see some of these great things. So go on this journey with me. How many of you participated in Pomona's first 5K in historic downtown Pomona? What an amazing experience. I saw your hand, Dr. Calderon. I know you were running hard. For the record, I came in third to last place. I had a bad back. In the midst of a city that has struggled with a range of social challenges, Pomona has seen the emergence of young talent. Thousands of students attend colleges and universities all over the country, including Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, Berkeley, UCLA, Cal Poly Pomona, Mount SAC, to name a few. And many now are returning to help their families and contribute back to their community. We can attribute this success to our school system. Pomona Unified School District, the School of Arts and Enterprise, and Pomona Catholic High School. And I know there's many other schools I haven't named, but thank you. So to the students and staff who represent these institutions, and all the educational nonprofits who help develop our young people on the path to success, I ask that you please stand. Please stand. Dr. Perlman, Frank, college students, colleges, I want you to stand. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you. One such group that's formed from some of these returning students is We Run Pomona, who is at the forefront of this transformational change in our city. Created in 2016, this group of young adults had a vision to create a running group called We Run Pomona that would run in different parts of the city to promote health and to reinforce that it was safe to run in our city. Every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m., a group of 75 plus participants run a 5K in different parts of Pomona. At their 1-year anniversary, over 150 runners ran through one of the most challenged neighborhoods in the city. And I tell you, there were people who were coming out of their homes and they were cheering the runners and just thanking them for being out there. Thank you, We Run Pomona. Taking ownership of our city. Shortly after I was elected mayor of Pomona, I approached their leadership about hosting a 5K in downtown Pomona, and they embraced it. They met with city officials to understand what the requirements were and did everything they needed to do to get this idea off the ground. They hired a professional company to manage online registration and the programming the day of the event. They reached out to high school students and community organizations for volunteers. Do you agree with me? The result was amazing. And Dr. Coley, you'll like this. Prior to the race, the Cal Poly Pomona Pep Band livened up downtown with band tunes. Thank you, Cal Poly Pomona. Folklorico dancers of all ages performed. And of course, there was a street fair. And I mentioned I had back problems, and there was this guy named Dr. Fix-It, also known as Dr. Rios, who heads up Pomona Valley Chiropractic. It's a nice little plug for him. And he helped me with my back at that race. But over 750 plus runners participated in the race. Kids, moms, dads, grandparents, millennials, teachers, elected officials were out there running. And of course, residents from throughout the city. Christina, you ran, didn't you? I know, I think you passed me up 2 times. That was was that not a transformational event for our community? We Run Pomona, owning our streets and our community. That's one story. Let's take you to another one. It was shortly after the 4th of July this past year that Sandra Pulido. Sandra, you here? There you go. Stand up, Sandra. Give her a big hand. She posted, now of course this doesn't happen on Facebook, posted on Facebook her frustration with a waste hauler that we won't name, that when unloading the trash from the trash cans to the trash truck, would drop a good portion of the trash back into her alleyway in South Pomona. Obviously she was very frustrated. She was actually livid. We spoke and our city staff had the trash hauler return to pick up the trash. An effort by Sandra to do monthly, she initiated, after this happened, she initiated an effort of monthly cleanups in her Angela Chancellor neighborhood. Before every cleanup, she leaflets the neighborhood with her daughter, and she invites her neighbors to join her, and they do every month. Council members participate, the police chief and our police officers participate, commissioners participate, but most importantly, the residents participate and are taking ownership of that neighborhood. And it's part of a growing movement called Pomona Beautiful that includes a dedicated group of volunteers, and I know you're here, and I'm gonna ask you to stand because I know that you go out there every Tuesday at 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. cleaning up Holt Avenue. Diane, Henry, Ron, Pastor Eric, and myself, please stand and give them a nice big hand. And it has grown to other areas, including an effort by Anna Northrup, who lives near Montview Park and has started a monthly cleanup in her neighborhood. Pomona Beautiful, cleaning our streets and owning our community. There's more. The story, not the singular negative story that we often hear, but the whole story. There's Spectra, a Pomona company that specializes in historic preservation, which purchased, are we not excited about this? Which purchased the YMCA building. I'm excited to announce that a groundbreaking and ribbon cutting at the historic YMCA will take place on February 21st at 11 a.m., and everyone is invited. And the owners, Ray and Michelle, I know you're here, took it one step further. They moved their family from Claremont to Pomona because they wanted to be fully a part of this community. Give them a nice big hand. When I was recently reading to kids at Kingsley Elementary, their principal commented, because I was pointing at, do you know who lives at that house across the street? And if you haven't seen it, it's on the corner of Kingsley and Washington. And I apologize, Ray and Michelle. But it is a cool house, and it's also formerly the kid from Lassie lived in that house. For those of you who are millennials, you might not know who Lassie is, but he was a dog. Okay? And what they said is they said how much time and energy the Adamics have committed to the school in the short time they've lived there. Thank you, Ray and Michelle. Okay. Now, I know that you'd love for me to tell you 17 more, because they exist, but I just wanted to give you a taste. But there are more efforts going on in this community that we don't always hear about. But I want all of you who are involved in some way or another, which is every single one of you, to please, I'm going to ask you to do this. I'm going to ask you to please stand. You are amongst community. Stand, everyone. Everyone, please stand. Everyone, please stand. Give yourselves a nice big hand for what you contribute to this community. And I want you to look around, and I want you to shake somebody's hand. I want you to embrace somebody. And you are all owning the city of Pomona. Go out and shake some hands. Give a hug if you'd like. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. What's that? Yeah, exactly. All right. You're having too much fun. I'm going to ask you to take your seat now. Just about every mayor will tell you that people, that our residents, want the basics taken care of. That the potholes are fixed, trash is picked up, because the small things really do matter. I want to highlight just a few of those things from this past year. And I got to tell you, the list is pages and pages. Because I think sometimes we have the impression that there may not be going the things that we would like to see go on, or actually, I can tell you they're happening. Let's start with this. And I saw many Facebook posts about this. But the left turn light at Riverside Avenue and Town Avenue is now up and running to ensure that residents can safely make the turn onto Town Avenue. And my colleagues know what I'm talking about. It's real easy for people to lose their lives. And they are here. The city received $3.5 million to build the Phil and now Soto Park on Orange Grove and Park Avenue. I want to acknowledge and thank the Soto family who are here tonight. Please give the Soto family a nice big hand. Please stand. I want to thank also Councilmember Carizosa. It would not have happened without her. The Esperanza and Alegria Park opened earlier this month in Angela Chancellor, and there was a little boy who said it would never happen, and it did. Thank you, Councilmember Carizosa. Gina, I know the Paul Park is a big part of Phillips Ranch Park. It opened up this past year. Congratulations. And where is the king of graffiti removal, Mr. Jeff Sanchez? Over 1 million square feet of graffiti removed on more than 55,000 locations. Thank you, brother. And I know you guys love those shopping carts. Well, let me tell you, thousands of shopping carts are removed, and they continue to be removed every single day. Thousands. And 2,000 locations of illegal dumping were cleaned up. And also, and this is very important to me and I know my colleagues, the City Council passed a ban on any new waste and recycling businesses in our city. The message was clear: Pomona will not be the dumping ground for the region. We are all in this together. There were over 1,500 homeless encampment cleanups. We need to get to a place where we're not having to spend our resources to clean up homeless encampments. And we recognize that one of the greatest challenges we face as a city is homelessness. Like you, I want to see our homeless service center open up as quickly as possible, because we know the need and understand the frustration. Know this: when it is built, it will have room for up to 400 beds, a central kitchen, showers and bathrooms, wraparound mental health services, and job training services. And I sat in this woman's office, and when she knew that the homeless shelter wasn't going to be ready back in November and in March, because we want this thing built, I could see her frustration, and I can see how sad, and she lives this every single day. Benita, if you're here, thank you for what you're doing for this community. We know that you're not just working 9 to 5, you're working every single day to make sure that homeless service center is open. If you're out there, Benita, thank you so much. Give her a nice big hand. And our heart team. Yeah, there you go. This is a group comprised of members of our police department, the Public Works Department, and the LA County Mental Health Services that travel throughout the city to address homeless encampments and to connect homeless individuals to the resources and services available to them. I want to thank the Heart Team. This team goes out almost every single day to ensure, because I'm going to tell you, do you guys get calls from council members? Yeah, you do. I know you get a call from the mayor, but I want, if you're here, to please stand, because this is a team effort. Former Chief Paul Capraro, if you're here, please stand. New Chief Mike Olivieri. Sergeant Cantonese, who leads the team. And you got to meet this guy, Officer Billy Din, who's from Pomona, who's the heart of the Heart Team. Thank you, Billy. Officer Tim Dorn from Public Works, Richard Gutierrez, Jesus Aguirre, David Carbajal, Alex Rivanes, Jeresi Newman, and from the county, Bernice Martinez. Give them a nice big hand. None of this would be possible without our city staff. City staff, I ask that all of you please stand. Please stand, city staff. Thank you, city. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Thank you, City Manager Linda Lowry, and to your team from all the departments you oversee for their commitment and dedication to serving Pomona. And to our police department. Fellas, ladies, you guys are amazing. I know that you put so much time and energy to making sure this city's safe. And I know as a city council, we got to try to do more to make sure that we continue to improve our public safety. But I can say We appreciate you and we thank you. Please give a nice big hand for our police department. Thank you. And thank you to our fire department. We appreciate your services as well. So little by little, we are working together to restore our image and role as a regional leader. Last fall, I had the honor of being one of 9 mayors in California selected to meet with U.S. Senator Kamala Harris, to discuss problems and solutions to local challenges. I look forward to continuing to work with Congresswoman Torres, Senator Leyva, Assemblymember Rodriguez, and County Supervisor Hilda Solis and their teams on a range of issues. And earlier this month, Amazon announced that 20 metro areas are still in the running for their next headquarters, including the Los Angeles metropolitan area, of which we are a part of. The County of Los Angeles, Cal Poly Pomona, Pomona Fairplex, and the City of Pomona collaborated to put together an outstanding proposal. And no matter where it goes, the fact that one of the biggest and most dynamic companies in the world believes that Pomona has the people, the institutions, and the infrastructure, colleges and universities, freeways, airports, the ports, public transportation, proximity to affordable housing, and the cultural amenities, speaks to the strength and dynamism of Pomona and the region. This is the Pomona I know. This is part of the story that needs to be told. Pomona needs you to tell that story. And Pomona has to think big. Think about this. This is in our DNA. We were the agricultural center of the region, the queen of the citrus belt. We were the movie, and in fact, we're in one of those spaces right now. We were the movie previewing location for major Hollywood movies. Post-World War II, General Dynamics was one of the foundations of the economy in the region and vital to our nation's economy. Where did people shop throughout the valley? Let me ask you folks, where did people shop throughout the valley? In Pomona. Our community's leadership had the foresight to welcome a place called Casa Colina Hospital, where an individual can walk in with a brain injury and be healed, and to create Pomona Valley Hospital, now with a trauma center that treats and heals people in their moment of need. We have 2 major universities, Cal Poly Pomona and Western University of Health Sciences, to help educate and train our future workforce. And the Fairplex, food, rides, music, trade shows, cars, hot rods. My wife and I were just right after Christmas in Sedona, and we're talking to a guy, and he asked, "Where are you from?" And he said, of course, I said, "We're from Pomona." And he goes, "Hot rods. You guys are known all over the world for hot rods. How cool is that? Truly a Pomona treasure. And how about our downtown? Poetry, dance, bookstores, antiques, Mi Cafecito, the Glass House, and Fox Theater." And for those of you who are a little older, like me, did you know that the founders of the Coachella Festival and owners of the Glass House are based where? In Pomona. Perry Tollet said this: "We always wanted to be in Pomona because we are from here. This street has such a great vibe. Thank you, Perry, and your whole team. I don't know that you're here, but if this message can get to Perry and his team, we thank you and your whole team for believing in our city, the city of Pomona." And I believe Pomona, has once again, the cultural, say this very slowly, that Pomona, once again, has the cultural and economic assets to be the center of this region. And Pomona has to think big. And tonight we take ownership for these assets and for how we can heal, protect, develop, use, and connect them to draw people throughout the region to our resurging city, because doing that will not just help Pomona, it will be good for the whole region. And I'm looking out at the team from Chino Hills, including the mayor and city council member. We're in this together. Pomona, our city, is in the midst of a resurgence and a renaissance. So what can we anticipate in 2018? What I most often hear from our residents is that they want a safe and clean city, a place where they can take their children to a park, to know the park is clean and safe. And the voters of Los Angeles County spoke when they passed Measure A. To ensure our parks are safe, city staff is currently working to develop a park rangers program to have staff stationed at selected parks to ensure that residents can safely use our parks. In addition, dollars that flow from Measure A, and I know you guys follow all these measures, should ensure that our bathrooms are up to standards and are cleaned on a regular basis. We must take care of the basics. Measure R and SB1 dollars will continue to reach cities, including Pomona, so you can anticipate that we will continue to repave our streets. In fact, the city council, and I'm incredibly, and we're all thankful, that 95% of Holt Avenue, over the course of the next few years, will be repaved. To ensure the safety of our residents and businesses, because I know that you see this. I know that you see this when you drive on Gary, you drive on Holt, you go outside City Hall, you see people living on the streets, and it shouldn't be that way. And I am incredibly, and this, by the way, this is not something that I did, right, or a single individual did. This even happened before particularly the newly elected council came. But a decision was made to build a homeless service center and to not pass on the problem, but to work together, to collaborate together, to build a homeless service center that would be coming, and we're working hard on this, to open up the first homeless service center besides the Armory. And that will open up, and we're going to work hard on this, that will open up this summer. And thank you again to the team that is working on this. We will also push, and this is really important, because many of you, I'm sure, are following what's happening over on the Santa Ana River, and people are being pushed out. And where are they going? Where are those people going? We will also continue to push other cities to work through regional institutions to take care of their fair share of the homeless challenge we all face. We will work with other cities. I've had countless meetings with area mayors, and I will continue to develop relationships with them and staff and leaders in other cities to develop our whole region and make sure that the voice of Pomona is heard, and that we have a seat at the table. And I say this, we can't and won't do it alone. Now, let me change the subject here a little bit. How many of you would like to, just raise your hand, how many of you would like to see a 12 to 14 plex theater come to downtown Pomona? And reclining seats. Thank you, Dr. Fix-It. Well, Maya Cinemas is coming to Pomona because their founder, Moctezuma Esparza, producer of movies like Salinas, Gettysburg, and Milagro Beanfield War, believes that movie theaters should be integrated into the community and that working class communities should have access to a world-class theater in the art of cinema. Mr. Esparza, if you're here with your team, just please stand. Thank you for believing in us. In early spring, you can anticipate a festival in honor of our children. I'm working, and we are working together to bring out all the community organizations that offer programming, such as Little League Baseball and Pony League, Pop Warner Football, Pomona Premier Youth Soccer League, the Dawes Center for the Arts, programming, Pomona Hope, Brand Yourself, virtually all the organizations that offer programming for children. This will also include fun activities for the kids, face painting, and when I mean by kids, I mean kids of all ages. Music, coloring, dancing, and a host of other activities. Are you ready for Beautification Day? On May 12th, Beautification Day. Make sure you sign up. In June, the Pomona Public Library Foundation is hosting a Mayor's Gala to raise money for our library and for our children. I want to also increase homeownership by ensuring that our renters have access to programs and information to get them from being renters to owners. The health and well-being is important to me. The health and well-being of the city is important to me. So soon, a renter's ordinance, I should say, will come before the city council that will begin to address the challenges that renters face, but also acknowledge those landlords who are trying to get it right. A tobacco ordinance will also ensure that no vendor is selling tobacco to our children. I've asked for a living wage task force to be established that will include residents, labor, small and large businesses, our nonprofit institutions, and city staff to identify the best path we can adopt to improve the lives of the men and women who live and work in our city who are earning minimum wage. And I will continue with my colleagues to push for good governance and transparency at City Hall. And one of the ways that we'll be doing this is that our finance team, Onyx, are you hearing this? With the support of the City Council, we will be hosting community meetings to present our 10-year financial forecast and explore ways you can help us work through these challenges. We have an exciting 2018 coming up. But let me be clear. Pomona faces real social and financial challenges now and in the future. And it's now, more than ever, we need to heal Pomona by continuing to come together and owning Pomona together. So what can you do? Well, in addition to sharing the message from tonight, because you are ambassadors to this city in some form or another, but I want you to share the message about taking ownership, right? And thinking about what a healthy community looks like and what a healthy democracy looks like, where the residents and the city and its nonprofits and its institutions are working together to ensure the very basic things. But at a very fundamental level, we need you to do this. We need you to shop Pomona. We need you to buy gas here. We need you to buy food here. Shop at Target. If you live in North Pomona, please, I apologize to our Laverne brothers and sisters, please go to South Pomona to shop at Target. Stater Brothers, Cardenas, Café con Libros, just to name a few. So I want you, will we shop in Pomona? Yes. Let me say that again. Let's just say this. We will shop Pomona. Let's try that one more time. We will shop Pomona. We will shop Pomona. Thank you. Second, and Lily's Tacos, right? And we can live in a beautiful city, and we are living in a very beautiful city, and we can make Pomona beautiful. The Pomona Beautiful movement is part of this. Tonight, I would like to ask service organizations, nonprofits, schools, businesses for their help by adopting a sidewalk, an underpass, a neighborhood, a street. If it's a school, the neighborhood around that street. Because I think it's very, very important that we begin instilling in our young people, this is their neighborhood, this is their community, and we have to take care of it together. And my colleagues and I will provide you with a toolkit to help you get started, and it starts with trash bags and gloves. So can we clean Pomona? Yes. Let me hear you say it. We can clean Pomona. We can clean Pomona. All right, and last, I want you to connect with our city and its people. And all of you in some way are already, but we got to grow this. Like We Run Pomona, or Pomona Beautification Day, or create something for Pomona that you are passionate about, whether it's children, parks, sports, the arts, the environment. There are great efforts already happening like Pomona Placemaking, Pomona's Promise, Compassionate Cities. There are so many different opportunities for you to be involved. So will we work together? Yes. Caught you off guard there, didn't I? So will we work together? Yes. Let's say, we will work together. We will work together. All right. And there's another group that I want to acknowledge, and that's the men and women who serve this country. There's a guy in this room named Bulldog Jesse. Bulldog Jesse, are you here? There he is. Bulldog Jesse is working together on a remembrance, on a memorial, on a celebration of our veterans. And that's going to happen March 31st, right? March 31st, we'll have more information. But let's give a nice big hand for the veterans and the military who serve our country. I want to close by sharing with you a quote from Daniel Chemist, the book that I referred to earlier, who was the former mayor of Missoula, Montana, and author of The Good City and the Good Life. Quote, "By thousands of small, patient steps, whole cities are learning once again to take responsibility for the lives and the hopes of their children. As cities come to understand that they themselves cannot survive if their children have no hope, the nurturing of hope becomes part of the city's work, and with it the nurturing and rebuilding of trust, without which democracy simply disintegrates. I see those patient steps paying off every day. Raised by a single mom, Edgar Vasquez, a Gary High School graduate, applied to 22 colleges and universities, and was accepted to all 22, including Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. And he goes off to Harvard and majors in mechanical engineering, and he graduates in 4 years, and he comes home to Pomona, and he gets a job with an engineering firm at a nearby city, and he saves up his first few checks, raised by a single mom, and he buys the home that his mother raised him in. Taking ownership together. And I leave you with this. The people of Pomona make our city. And in the process, the city makes us. To ensure that we have a city that we love, let's own this city and make Pomona beautiful together. Thank you.